Well, hello, my friends. Hello, hello. I'd like to say a good shout out to all our friends at Antman who have been helping us with this show, have been helping Frank and myself. He's been doing this for, he's saying, more than 30 years. Applause to you, Frank. Applause to Antman. Thanks for everybody for their contribution. Otherwise, this show wouldn't be what it is today. Hopefully you can write in and let us know what that is. Anyway, I'd like to say thank you for everyone. I wasn't here 2 weeks ago because I was here. I went to one of the conventions at Foxworth, which was, let me see. When was that? What was it? I think it was it June 30th that I was here. So that was at Foxworth Convention at June 30th. It was a great time. That's why I have the mustache. It's all about the disguise. You know, if the disguise is good enough, you'll be able to cut yourself some discounts. Also, it was excellent. I got to meet a lot of people. They got to see me. I was dressed like the comedian. We had a good time. I had a good time speaking to everybody who I saw there. They recognized me as the comedian and had seen me at the conventions. I was there to say hello to some old friends. I went some shopping. I spent the whole day there. It was awesome. It was an awesome time. Second convention I went was this past weekend, which was the 7th of the 7th on the 18th, Saturday. It was New Jersey Garden State Comic Festival, or Fest they call it, 2018. It was again a lovely event. The best thing about these conventions is you get to reconnect with people you haven't seen in such a long time. And it was just wonderful seeing these people I haven't seen in a while. You know, since things have been going on in my life, I haven't been able to go out there as much. But now I'm ramping up to go all in. You know, all the chips on the table and start, doing more of the job of entertainment and producing that I wanted to do. And hopefully, when Frank gets back, we'll continue with our more conversation debates on what we love to talk about pop culture. Now, the rundown, all right? The following movies came out, I guess, last week, which was Sicario, The Day of the Soldado, that's Sicario 2, Antman and the Wasp, which I saw last week. I wasn't able to, was it 2 weeks ago it came out? I wasn't able to give a review for it, but hopefully this time I'll be able to give the review. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I'm not sure if we still call him The Rock or not, but what the heck. Skyscraper, which came out this Friday or Thursday, however it comes out. I'll continue the rundown, and then I'll get back into it, and I'll talk about each film and how it came out and what my opinions were. Necessarily it might not be your opinion. You might think differently. You might agree or disagree, but that's all up to you. Okay, we have next on July the 20th, The Equalizer. Mission Impossible, July 27th, The Meg. This is with Jason Statham about a huge, a massive shark, and that's on August the 10th. And after that would be Keanu Reeves' Replicas. That's August 24th. I don't know what that's about, but I'm assuming if it's about, probably copies of humans, it could be that. Then the next big movie I might be interested in seeing. These are basically rundowns of movies that might be interested. I might be interested in seeing, and this fan base that we watch together might be interested in seeing. Venom, October the 5th of October. Aquaman, the 21st of December of this year. Then we're going to have, I forgot. We're going to have The Predator, September 14th. Aquaman is the 21st of December. Godzilla, King of Monsters, that's going to be the 22nd of March. Shazam, boom, finally arrives with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Eventually we'll get back to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and we're going to, hopefully, if I don't get to speak about his career, by this segment, hopefully by the YouTube segment, which will be 10 minutes after the M&M program, live M&M shoot, I'll be able to talk about the YouTube portion, which YouTube, we after this, we'll put it up on YouTube, and hopefully you subscribe, give us a like, you participate. The more likes and participation you have by liking and watching the program, the more it'll help us to influence people and saying, you know, these are the kinds of movies we should be making, not the kind of movies that we're making just to make movies because of let's say, nostalgia. You know, not only nostalgia is important, but also good quality movie. All right, to continue. We all love Godzilla, King of Monsters, which, like I said, it's going to be the 22nd of March. Shazam, the 5th of April. The Avengers, finally, that's going to be the 3rd of May of 2019. Then we have Gambit, June the 7th. Justice League Part 2, that'll be June 14th. Toy Story 4, June 21st. The New Mutants, August the 2nd. Star Wars, finally, Episode 9, the 20th of December. And Fast and the Furious, that would be the 10th of October. That's basically the rundown for movies that it's going to happen. It's like, how many rock films do we have here? We have Fast and Furious 9, we count as a rock film. And I'm not sure if The Rock's going to be appearing in the Fast and the Furious 9 coming up. Is it Fast and Furious 9 coming up? I'm not sure. Is he going to be on that movie? But, you know, eventually his movie's going to come out too. Yeah. Fast and Furious 9. I'm not sure whether or not The Rock's going to be in that. But definitely he's going to be in Shazam, which is going to be awesome to see. You know, he recently came out with this movie Skyscraper, and that's going to be very interesting to go into it and try to talk about it as much as I possibly can. And if I don't have time to talk about the list of movies that I consider his best and most interesting right now, I have this one that The Rock was in. If you all remember, this was The Rock, one of The Rock's earlier films, Doom. A lot of people didn't like this film, but I found it quite amusing. It sort of tried to melt the real life movie with the video game adaptation of the film. But those other movies that came out too, like I said. From last week, I didn't talk about it. I think that The Purge came out too this weekend, but I didn't have a chance to see it. And also, I guess I miss Jurassic World 2. I didn't get to see it because, you know, I'm basically tapped out of those two franchises. I wasn't really that interested in seeing them. I only want to go see films that I want to go see, or the general public as a whole, you know, fans want to see. You know, I'm not a fanboy, but I'm more or less nostalgia and good base films. You know, if you bring back Miami Vice to television, I'd probably see that. And if you do it the style of the 80s, I'd be definitely all in to see that. They're bringing back Magnum PI, so I'm thinking about it's only time till they bring back Miami Vice. Maybe they could shoot in New York and call it New York Vice. All right, let me clear my lips, or wet my whistle and clear my lips, or whatever. So now we have Sicario 2, The Day of the Soldado. I saw it recently. I think it was like when it came out in June, along with Jurassic World. There was one or two films I could see, and I said, let me see the Benicio del Toro film, because I like Benicio del Toro, and he interests me more because he's sort of, to me, I've been saying for quite a while, I'm like, this guy should have been the new James Bond. He's as good as James Bond. He can be like the American James Bond. All right, Sicario, The Day of the Soldado, he was good. I have to say Benicio del Toro was really good. The first Sicario I found very interesting too. I didn't see it when it came out. I saw it recently on Netflix, and the two movies combined were pretty telling that the movie was really about Benicio del Toro, and he was the Sicario, in which their translation of Sicario is to mean hitman. As far as that goes, he was awesome in it, to tell you the truth. I enjoyed it. I have to say, the film was kind of funny in a way. It sort of did a MacGuffin. It's MacGuffin of the film, because this is a terminology they would use in describing films. Like I think the person who coined it best was Alfred Hitchcock, when he said, "You're basically doing a deep dive and trying to find out what the narrative of the film is, or what you're following, like the White Rabbit, what you're following down the rabbit hole of the film. And you think the film's about one thing, and all of a sudden it switches it to something else, and you forget entirely that thing you were following altogether, and it just gets displaced, and that becomes like the MacGuffin. It's like a sleight of hand. You watch this hand, but I did something over here, and now you forgot about what I did with my left hand or my right hand." So that's what I felt they sort of did with Sicario. They sort of, said this film was going to be about this, to make it a broader story about global internationalism and this and that. I don't want to give too many spoilers, because I know people hate spoilers. I want you to see the film yourself if you're interested in Benicio del Toro, if you're interested in the Sicario franchise, and judge for yourself, because I think Benicio del Toro is awesome. I don't think they have to do more than what he is, or more than they have to expand it to make it interesting. You don't have to go full James Bond on him. You can do it low key, and he'll still be a very interesting character. So, and overall, if you're a Benicio del Toro fan, you'll love the movie. You'll have to sort of forgive the first part of it, but continue on your path with it. And I think you will enjoy the film. You just have to give it some time, and it's sort of like those things you have to love. It's like I love Blade Runner. I love the second Blade Runner. I have it. I purchased it on DVD, so now I get to watch it more. Films that I get to watch, because I believe in this way. If it's something you like, maybe you should buy it, because down the line, unless you have it transferred on digital, all these streaming services, with all their infighting, eventually won't exist anymore. Who's going to control the mass amount of data? Who's going to have it? Where are you going to find it? If it goes down, you lose it. It's sort of like losing a drive. So if it's not digitized on a hard drive, or you don't have the physical copy, even then the DVDs of when you buy a DVD, they said the amount of times you watch it will probably only last you 10 years. So folks, I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard. I know we want to hold on to something for as long as we can, but sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's something that only lasts for a short time, like a whisper. But we got to enjoy it while we still can. Hold on to it. See it as many times as you can. Enjoy it. And then it maybe go into the clouds and evaporate, and it'll be the end of it. All right, I guess that's enough about Sicario. Watch it, see what you say. I know the film isn't what it promised it to be, but Benicio del Toro was still awesome. All the acting was great. If they would have just, been truthful in what the story they were trying to say, I would have continued to follow the story. I don't think they have to do MacGuffins to distract me, to make them seem like, oh, you'll be interested in this if it's a MacGuffin. No, I'll be interested either way. This is the way I believe. All right, now going to our next film that just came out this past weekend. And then I'll talk about the big one that we all want to hear about, Antman and the Wasp. But the big film that came out this weekend was, the film I thought was interesting was The Purge and Skyscraper. I didn't get to see The Purge. They came out, I guess, this week. Maybe The Purge came out last week. I didn't have time to see it. The Purge, I think it came out with minimal fanfare, and I didn't hear too much about it. Not too many people talked about The Purge, and I think it just got lost I think it was supposed to be about something. If they would have continued it in the way the line that they were continuing, it looked like they were building towards something. I don't know. They probably sort of lost their momentum, but they could probably get it back. It probably just all depends on how they spin the narrative and how they make the story interesting. So I guess we just have to hold on. If I have time, I'll go see it. If I can, I'll see what I can do, because I have so much time available and money, to tell you the truth, because that's why I go see matinee shows, because right now it's like $8 for a matinee. Anything other than that, you're going to pay a premium for like a film from $15 to $16 in New York. It's crazy. So getting back to Skyscraper. Skyscraper with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and I think Ned Canville. I think it's sort of a return to movies we haven't seen in a long time. And ta-da, she shows up. She used to be in Party of Five. She used to be in those movies like, I think it was Scream? Well, yeah, Scream, Party of Five. Then she just like sort of disappeared. She did a movie, a comedy, a rom-com, and we hadn't heard from her since. But that's the way it goes in Hollywood. If you don't continue with your base, or if you don't interact with your fans, or your fans don't know who you are, they forget you. Sorry, folks. My friends, I'm sorry. All right. Continuing with Skyscraper. Skyscraper was supposedly a film based on, what can I say, a building that they had in Hong Kong. It sort of seemed like it was a film made in Hong Kong in order to generate buzz with the international market, because I guess the international market wants to see themselves in films. I think before they weren't too interested in films because they kind of thought it was frivolous, but then they saw the popularity in films and how icons were being created through film and cinema, and then they started saying to themselves, we're being left behind because we haven't been paying an interest in cinema, and we should be interested in this form of, I guess, in movies, so that more people can say, hey, look, we're here too, folks. Don't leave us out of the party. They film in Hong Kong. It's about this huge building. They say it's twice as big as the Empire State Building. And then this whole series of events takes place where The Rock has to go into the building. I don't want to give too many spoilers. And this is where the action ensued. It sort of like becomes Die Hard meets Towering Inferno. And I'm not sure if Steve McQueen was in Towering Inferno. I was going to look it up, but I forgot to look it up with all the other research I was doing at the time. So I forgot to look it up about whether Steve McQueen was in the Towering Inferno. I think I remembered it that way, but that used to be a thing in the 70s, the disaster film genre. And I like to say, Dwayne Johnson is bringing back the disaster genre because he's more physically adept for it. I think I'll talk more about him in the 10 minutes after the show, after the Eminem live show. I'll talk about it on the YouTube show, which would start 10 minutes right after that. If you hit likes and subscribes, you'll hear more of our back commentary on YouTube, or you can just check out YouTube after this. And that's where I'll get more into the deep dive about Dwayne Johnson and the career and what I see him that he can accomplish going forward. All right. So, like I said, it was an exhilarating film. It had a lot of adventure. It was very captivating. A lot of technology. But for me, it sort of seemed like something was lacking. Dwayne Johnson brought the heat. He was awesome. There was a nice cast of people, but I don't know. It seemed a little lackluster. It didn't seem like a Die Hard. It didn't seem like a Towering Inferno. The stakes were high, but somehow or another, I don't know. It sort of got lost in translation for me. It didn't seem as urgent a film or as important a film as I would have imagined. The Tower Inferno or Die Hard, where the stakes seem really high. Even though there were amazing stunts, people were taking risk. He looked like he was taking a lot of risk with his life. He plays a disabled veteran. Well, not a veteran, a disabled serviceman, or not serviceman, I mean policeman. Or he used to be special trained in police force, and he had an accident and lost his leg. Oh, I hope I'm not giving too many spoilers, but maybe it will help you understand where the story about his leg comes from. But all in all, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. You know, whether or not I would buy the DVD, probably not. But it was a good attempt. You know, it wasn't bad to watch. All right, now for the elephant in the room, for the two people you see back here, Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, it came out June 30th. It's been, I guess, a few weeks right now. Today is Saturday, the 14th of July. This is the live show, 14th of July, 2018, Saturday. Right now it's like 5:21. And I have to say, I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was amazing. I love this type of sci-fi shrinking. This reminded me of the movies back in the 70s when they used to shrink things in order to, you know, they would really go into this beautiful narrative about, I forgot what this movie was called, where they had this whole team shrunk to go into the head of this man who was shot, and they were going to try to save his life, and they shrunk in a ship and went through his brain to see if they could fix the clot. And I thought it was amazing. That's why I always love these type of sci-fi science fiction films. They really get into the technical sci-fi aspect of a film where, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, where they're able to solve problems through the use of science and technology, where they shrink and grow and make things big and small. I know you have to, what do you call it, suspend belief because it's a sci-fi film. And one of the things they say about this sci-fi film is like, even if you were to shrink something and make something smaller, it would still have the same weight. For example, if this pen were to shrink to, I don't know, 3/4 of its size, if it was to be this small, it would still be as heavy as the pen, as the whole of the pen. That's why I thought it was hysterical when they show them shrinking buildings and taking it away, shrinking automobiles and putting them in carts, you know, carrying them with them like one person. You'd probably need the strength of Superman to carry it, because Superman does that thing where he shrinks a key, which is the dwarf star, or the whole, or Thor, because Thor, they made his hammer from a dwarf star, and that's why most people can't lift the hammer, because the hammer, or they say, you know, they say it's like Excalibur, but in reality it's the dwarf star. And he talks about it, how he made it from the dwarfs made it from a dwarf star, and that's why only he can carry it, or only that who they feel deemed worthy. I don't know. You know, it just gets too you know, unwilling to grasp your head around it. But back to Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was amazing. I think the chemistry was there. Michael Douglas was amazing. You know, he still got it. Everything I remember, there was a point that every time he would be in a movie, he would just make the movie pop. It was just something about his personality, something about his charisma. You know, Paul Rudd's no slouch. He's good too in the film. He's awesome. They do a lot of humor, jokes. If you have to see a movie this summer, that's the movie I would recommend. Boom. I'd definitely recommend these two. Ant-Man and the Wasp were amazing. They worked well together. They didn't step over each other's lines. It was flawless. They had great choreographed fight scenes. In the movie, they had I guess not only one but two villains, and I felt that was amazing. You don't have to sometimes make the narrative about the destruction of the world, even though the destruction of the world may be involved in this film, because how do you say it? Because they have the technology, and the bad guys want to steal the technology, but this technology is more or less is important to them to right a wrong. And I felt that was very interesting. I felt that was awesome that they would, just stay on a smaller narrative than make it seem like, oh, if we don't solve this, it's the end of the world. But in all cases, them fighting with the villains is also important about world domination, because if this technology fell in the wrong hands, it could be misused and have dire consequences. But I felt this film was awesome. It had a lot of things going for it. The aspects of the technology, the aspects of I just was blown away. I was wondering, if I only had that quarter of the intelligence, imagine the things I can do to better my life. You could, or even the technology where you could just shrink things, take everything out, packet it away. Who knows? Maybe one day I would want to buy a storage facility, if I could live in the storage facility and own the storage facility and rent the storage facility for other people. All right, so my friends, I'm going to have to wrap it up. The live show is going to be over, but like I said, remember, watch us on YouTube. It's on Videoland Express. We're on YouTube. Check us out. See us. Like, subscribe. The more you like and subscribe to the show, the more people listen to what we have to say. Say, hey, there's a base of people out there that we should probably listen to, and they have a pretty much good understanding with the general public who's interested in films could influence. All right. So I'm wrapping it up. After this, 10 more minutes, I'll do a show for the YouTube. Please stay with us if you can. For the M&M fans, good night. Thank you, my friends, for supporting Frank and I, for more than 30 years. Thank you. We appreciate. Goodbye. Keep watching. All right, my friends. Now, this part of the segment is going to be for YouTube. This is the YouTube section. So I'll take another 10 minutes, if that's okay with you. And like I said, please like, subscribe. I hate to say it over and over again because I sound like a broken record, but sometimes you have to tell people this is what helps provide the show as is, and gives us that extra energy, that oomph to say, yeah, continue, keep going. It's sort of like a marathon runner who's running across and people out there applauding him. It's giving them more energy. It's sort of like you go to a baseball game, and if no one cares, the players don't care. But if everybody's into it, all of a sudden they're into it. It's like wrestling. You go to a live show of wrestling, and the more fans are into it, they're hyped, they're banging, stomping their feet, applauding, the more the wrestlers get enthralled with that sense. It's sometimes felt a lot in sports. It's amazing how you can get that sense of feeling from sports games, from wrestling matches, from fighting matches, that the enthusiasm of the crowd influences the performers. That sometimes can't be said for too many events, but a lot of these type of events have an influence on what you're watching and what you're seeing. So that's what I like to say. Please watch and subscribe. All right, continuing. Let me continue to my topic. As I was saying, let's go into the deep dive for the YouTube portion. Before it was the M&M portion, now it's the YouTube. And again, I'd like to thank everybody at M&M, which is Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and the crew for all your years of help and support. Otherwise, our show wouldn't exist. I should say Frank's show. He's not here right now. He's taking care of some business, but I wish him a lot of luck, and I hope to see him back safely and he returns. Okay. So now here, to continue. All right. Now, what I heard is, this is some of the stuff from the rumor mill, like people like to refer to it as. the rumor mill. One of the movies that's going to come into fruition or come to fruition from the DC universe, from what I heard, was The Joker, or the movie about the Joker. It's sort of like the standalone movie. The Joker, maybe Harley Quinn's going to be in it, maybe Batman's going to make an appearance. Who knows? I don't really know. But I heard that they are thinking about casting Joaquin Phoenix in the lead role as the Joker. I always thought that the best character to cast in a film like the Joker would be Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal, I know I say it over and over again, that he is sort of more or less the go-to character. If you want someone who can demonstrate this form of something's going on, that something's going on in the back of his mind, he, more than any other actor, sort of is able to, you're able to see this from him. You're able to see something's going on behind his mind. I think he's a lot better than the other younger actors. There are his same age range. I don't want to put down too many actors, but it's sort of true. If you want to see an awesome film of Jake Gyllenhaal, there's a lot to see. Donnie Darko, from was it Nightcrawlers? Was a movie I always talk about it over and over again. I purchased it. I have it on DVD. I love to watch it. It's sort of funny. It's about a millennial, I would like to say, because he's a young guy. He comes up with ideas to survive, and then one idea doesn't seem to be making ends meet, because he knows it's not going to. He has to dive into the next thing that's going to make him money. So then he goes on to the next thing, and he becomes sort of like cutthroat. And it's sort of like watching a young executive at an emerging company, sort of like a young entrepreneur. And these type of films are very interesting because you get to see how a person like this, it's sort of like a rat trapped in a corner that he has to sort of figure out his next move to survive and get out of that corner in order to thrive and survive. And he does excellent in this movie. He's able to win me over. In the beginning, I say to myself, I don't know what he's doing, but as I follow him on his path, I say, wow, this is amazing. He really pulled it out. He really made something of himself from this film. And I thought that this movie is amazing. Any chance I have to watch it, I watch it. This is one of the few movies I watch over and over again. It's up there with my Blade Runner trilogies. Well, it's not trilogies, there's only 2 movies. My The Mystery Men. Just recently, I love that movie. I watch as much as I can. I don't see it online as much. That's why I had to purchase, because I said I can't trust the internet to have it out there. I'm gonna have to buy it, have it for myself. The copy cost me $9 on a regular DVD, but these are the type of movies you have to have and keep on hand, just in case you can't find them on the internet anymore, or they're not around. Like The Princess Bride. I always thought to myself, if you're going to make movies of that people love, I wonder when they're going to do a movie of the sequel to The Princess Bride, which should be the pirate Drake, the Black Drake pirate. I forgot what the name of the character is supposed to be, but that would have been an awesome second installment of The Princess Bride. But maybe one day when we have enough influence, people will say, hey, that would be a great idea for a movie. So like I said, people, the Joker would have been better with Jake Gyllenhaal, not, I'm sorry to say, Joaquin Phoenix. He's the guy I would have loved to have seen in Blade Runner 2, but that's the way things go. What are you going to do? All right, next, what I like to talk is about on the rumor, I like to say the rumor mill, is Uncharted, the Nathan Drake story, which was going to be with Tom Holland. I think there've been some infighting back and forth about when that movie's going to get released, when that movie's going to get produced. They show clips, They're filming. I'm not really sure too much of what's going on from the discussions and the infighting. I've said there's a lot of good video game movies that they should make movies of. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake story would be one of them. And another video game I always thought would have been good would have been The Last of Us, I think. That would have been awesome. It's sort of a zombie film. If you play the video game or you see it on YouTube, if you don't play video games, check it out on YouTube. It'll show you briefly what the movie's about, what the video game is about. And in that regard, on top of saying Uncharted would have been a great film, that would have also been a great movie. I heard there's some work, some movement about on the works of trying to make that a movie. So let's see whether or not that's possible, whether it happens. But I don't know. There's so many rumors. Sometimes they say a movie's happening, and sometimes it's not happening. I don't know what's going on. But let's cross our fingers and hope this happens. Next up for our deep dive, what I love to talk about is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You know, I'm not sure if we still call him The Rock, but I guess as long as he's not paying for it and no one's suing us for saying Rock, because I know it's a trademark that belongs to the WWF, which is funny that a name The Rock would be copyrighted and belong to the WWF. So here's a few deep dives of rumors that I would love to see come to fruition, right? Dwayne Johnson would be awesome if they were to. I've heard that they're thinking about bringing back Conan the Barbarian. He would make an excellent Conan the Barbarian. I always thought that he would have been better than Jason Momoa. I know Jason Momoa is a great actor. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy, this and that or the other. But it's like what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Dwayne Johnson did with Fast 5, one of my favorite films of The Rock. I'm going to eventually talk about my favorite films of The Rock that he's done so far. There's quite a few, but I'm going to talk about it. We don't have too many. I'm going to talk about all of them, but because we have too many times. Doom is one of them. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I hated Doom." Yeah, it's corny, but to me, Doom is like my Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. If you understand the reference, then you'll get my meaning of it. For some people, it's that movie, The Room. For me, it's Doom. I'll watch it again and again. That's all I can say. So back to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Conan would have been an awesome film for him to do. You know, they said they're going to redo it because if anybody were to take the mantle of the new action leading star, it would be Dwayne Johnson. I mean, they're looking to put him in Shazam. So he was originally they wanted to play Shazam, but he said no, I'd rather play the Black Adam because you have more of a story, of a rich story of why this man becomes who he is and goes towards the dark side. To coin a phrase of Star Wars, you know, that's one of those things we probably won't talk too much about anymore. But there I go. I put it out there. Yes, and like they said, some of the better films I enjoyed of The Rock. You know, I'm not going to say all of them, but I'm going to give you a few. Like the one I said beginning was Fast and the Furious, Fast 5. I felt that film was awesome. He brought it to another level. The Fast and Furious franchise was almost dead. It was teetering. It was almost a dead franchise. They needed to pump new life into it, and they did when they signed up Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And the other films that he was awesome, if you have a chance to see, he was great in The Rundown, Pain and Gain, Rampage, and San Andreas. All right, I didn't get to see San Andreas. I saw parts of it while I was flying in a plane to South America. I got to see a little